Hello, hello, freelancers and solopreneurs. I'm so glad you could join me today for my session at Freelance Business Month. Before I jump into it, I just want to note a logistic thing real quick. This is a recorded presentation, so I will not be answering questions live in this video, but I am in the chat live if you want to ask some questions in there, and that's where I will answer them. So just a note before we jump into it. Okay. How to shape your business's brand. And I can hear you already, a lot of you freelancers thinking, I don't really have a brand, or my brand is just me. I want to encourage you to kind of shift that thinking a little bit, because you do have a brand, whether you think you do or not. It just means that you're not actively shaping it into what you want it to be. So that's what we're kind of addressing here in this presentation. Okay, so a little bit about me before we get started, just so you know who is this lady to talk to me about branding. My name is Amanda Guerassio. I run Studio Guerassio, which is a brand and design agency. I am a brand strategist and designer. That has been my specialty for the last 7 going on 8 years, but I've been an independent designer for 16 plus years. I've had an interest in art and design as far back as I can remember. My degree is in design, and that's what I've been doing ever since, basically. So I am like neck deep in the design and branding world. And on the personal side, I'm married. I'm a mom to a preschooler and a dog mom. I live in Austin, Texas, and I am an introvert and a bookworm and love things like the color purple, fuzzy socks, and dragons. So just a little bit about me, and now we're going to jump right in. Okay, what exactly is branding? So I want to make sure we're on the same page with this before we really get deep into it, because I know if you're not a designer or a branding specialist or a brand voice specialist or anything like that, a lot of the times people think that branding is just your logo and colors, and that is a part of it. But it's not the whole picture. So I really want to be clear on what we're building with figuring out your brand. So the very first part, if you look at this nice little visual here, this pyramid, is the intangible. This is your core brand. This is, why you're in business, what you're hoping to accomplish, who you're trying to serve, how you want to be known, all that kind of stuff. All the intangibles, the abstract ideas behind your business. The next step on top of that is the visual, how it looks, how your brand looks. And this is where, your logo and your color palette and your fonts come in. It's also where I work as a designer. I work in these 2 steps here, the core brand and the visual. But you also have the verbal, and this is how your brand sounds. So how you talk on sales calls, how you write on your website and your social media posts, in your emails, anywhere that you're speaking or writing is how your brand sounds. That's the verbal. And then you have the experiential. So this is how you interact. And by that, I mean the actual experience that people have buying from you or working with you. So this can include everything from like onboarding to your process, to troubleshooting your customer support, to support afterwards, follow-up, things like that. How well you communicate. All of that is wrapped into the experience that someone has with you when they do business with you. And then the very tip of the pyramid is reputational. So this is what people think of your business who may not have ever worked directly with you. So this is, they see your reviews online, or they see your social media posts, but have never interacted with you, never done business with you. So all of these together make up your brand. And the way to start shaping it is to start here at the intangible. You have to know what you're trying to build before you can build all these other pieces, right? Because otherwise it's just going to be a mess, for lack of a better word, or, inconsistent or kind of jumbled together. So that is what we're going to dig into a little bit later. But one other thing I want to cover too. So what is the purpose of branding? So building a brand for your business is really about answering this question. Why should they choose us, or choose me, or choose you, depending on many people are in your business, and whether you want to talk first person or third person. But really, that's what branding is about. It's about answering that question. Out of all of the options people have, why should they choose you to do business with? And so that kind of breaks down into all these things. Who are you? What do you stand for? What do you do? Who's your competition? What are their other choices? Who are they? Who are you trying to reach? Who are you trying to serve exactly? What are you offering? What is unique about it or different about it? And then what motivates them? Like, why should they care? Why is what you provide the solution they're looking for? So really, branding is about answering all those questions wherever your brand shows up, through your visuals, through your marketing, through your copy, through your experience, all of that. Okay, so now the good stuff. Why you're here today. Figuring how to shape your business brand. Step 1, going back to that pyramid, figure out your core brand, that base of the pyramid that everything else builds on. So the reason we start with this is because going through this process of figuring out your core brand helps you, first of all, get clear on why you're here and what you do. It helps you understand how you fit into the market and, conversely, how you can stand out as well. It helps you really know who you most want to serve. Because if you've heard that line, you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, right? You got to have a clear idea of who your people are, who your audience is. It helps you show up confidently in your business because you're clear on its goals, on what it stands for, on its purpose, and what you're trying to do. And perhaps most usefully, it gives you some clear goalposts for what to do with your visual design, with your copy, with your marketing, because you can look at it and say, okay, I said I wanted my brand to be this, this, and this, and talk to this person and highlight this uniqueness. Okay, does this design do that? Does this copy do that? Does this marketing channel help me do that? So it helps you be a little more strategic in all of those efforts instead of kind of just throwing spaghetti at the wall or going, oh, this looks good enough or anything like that. It helps you kind of focus your efforts. So it's very useful for that. That's why I can get on my soapbox and talk about the importance of a core brand all day. Okay, so we've talked about why that's important. So how do you actually go about doing that? How do you figure out your core brand? Okay, so what you want to start with, start off easy, start with you. Like, it's your business, right? You get to decide all of this. So you're going to want either, a blank Google Doc or a notebook or something to kind of go through these questions and write down your answers. So start with you. Yeah. Why did you decide to start a business, a freelance business? And why this specific one? So why are you, if you're a designer, why are you a designer instead of opening a bookstore somewhere? If you're a copywriter, why are you doing that instead of, opening a restaurant somewhere? Why are you a social media manager instead of, working at opening a roofing company or something? Like, why did you start this business and why specifically this one? And the answers to this can vary. Like for me, freedom was a big reason. I love the freedom of running my own business. I like the flexible schedule. I like deciding who I get to work with. I like setting my own prices and my own hours. So for me, that is kind of the big reason. But it could be different for anybody. So think about this, brainstorm on this, and really think about like, why are you doing this? Why aren't you an employee somewhere? Why aren't you starting a different business? Just kind of have a sit down with yourself and think about that. And while you're doing that, think about these other things too. So what is your vision for your business? Like, where do you want to take it? What are, your short-term goals, your long-term goals, your dreams for this business? Like, what do you want to build it into? Do you want to stay, a one-on-one service provider? Do you want to grow a team or an agency? Do you want to pivot to doing like courses or a membership or write a book or do a podcast? Like, what are your goals and dreams for this business you're building? And then kind of along with that, like, what do you see as your purpose or your business's purpose in doing the work that you do? So like for me, the purpose of my work is to help my clients have an aligned visual voice to make sure that, what they're putting out in the world visually is aligned with the business they're trying to build. It helps them, resonate with their ideal people. It communicates what they want it to communicate. It's versatile enough to grow with them for whatever their goals are. So that is my purpose in what I do. So all these questions together, they kind of cover like the overall story of like how and why your business exists and where you want to take it. So again, sit down with some blank paper, a blank Google Doc, and screenshot this if you need to, and work through these questions. So after you've answered those, the next step, this is the juicy stuff. This is kind of the core of the core brand, if you will. So these are the guiding ideas behind how your business shows up and how you want it to be perceived. So especially, for like design work or copy work or stuff, these, like the words and the answers you come up with for these 3 things can really inform directions for all of those. So take your time with this, get specific with this, and I'll walk you through each one right here. So values. So these are the guiding principles of your business. These are, what you want to stand for, things, kind of lines in the sand of like, this is how I want to do business. For example, so I'll just give you some examples of mine. So the core values at Studio Guerassio are freedom, challenge, reliability, and openness. So those are kind of at the core of everything I want to do. Like as far as like how I run my business, I'm always asking myself, which choice gives me the most freedom? Like, does this feel like freedom to me? Reliability, that's a big one for me because I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do by the time I say I'm going to do that. That is a very, very important to me in my business and how I run my business, and also in choosing who I do business with too, right? So that's another way to think of it too. Is there a reason you would never do business with somebody? And if so, kind of reverse engineer that. That can kind of shed some light on one of your core values. And I have some other examples listed here too, like, if you want, depending on what your business is, if you want to be known for sustainability or giving back, or there's some of mine in here, reliability, freedom, openness, communication or community or connection, like what do you feel is at the heart of your business? That's what this question is for. Again, sit down, brainstorm, think about that. And the more specific you can be, at least to be able to explain it to yourself, the better. Okay, the second part of your core brand is qualities. So what do you want your business and your work to be known for or known as? And this is not, for the qualities, we want to kind of keep it objective. So like describe it like an object. Do you want your business to be luxury or everyday? Do you want it to be minimal or more complex? Do you want it to be, high tech or affordable or traditional or modern or like all these other things? All sorts of adjectives you can come up with here. Oh, and another way to think about this is if, the service or business of yours was an object in a store, if it was on a shelf in a store somewhere, what store would that be? And then think about like, why did you pick that store? What are some of the qualities of that store that you associate with your business? So again, brainstorm, get as specific as you can for this one as well. And then the third part is personality. So this is like if your business was a person. And I know for a lot of freelancers or solopreneurs, it's like, well, my business is a person. It's like, well, yes, but your business also exists separately from you. So it doesn't have to be a one-on-one correlation between you and the personality of your business. Like, for example, I'm definitely an introvert. My business is a lot more, I guess, talkative or outgoing. Than you would expect from that, because it's kind of like the business face, it exists separately from me. It's kind of like the expert version of me, if that makes sense. So think about how you want your business to perceive, like if it was a person. What is the vibe and the tone that you want your business to have? Are you going to be funny? Are you going to be more chilled and laid back? Are you sophisticated? Are you down to earth? Are you loud? Are you more quiet? Are you optimistic? Are you nerdy? Are you no nonsense? Like, again, all sorts of examples down here for you to pull from. But think about, again, the vibe and the tone you want your business to have. And I hope you can see, like, once you have all these kinds of words, like these descriptors, that really helps guide the rest of your branding and marketing efforts. Because you can say, okay, I said I wanted the personality of my business to be friendly and approachable and optimistic. Okay, am I getting that from this design option? Am I getting that from the way this copy is written? So it just, again, helps you kind of funnel it and keep it on track. Next step, your audience and market. So you need to be clear on who you want to serve and who you most want to serve, okay? You can serve people outside of your exact, target audience, but this is who you're going to be talking to in your copy. This is who you're going to be trying to reach with your design. This is kind of who you're focusing on, even if, you get occasional outliers that are outside of this that want to work with you. Oh, that's fine, but you should have something to focus on. So you're going to want to think about demographics a little bit. It's like, depending on your business and what you offer and your ideal person, these may or may not be important. Like for me, I know parental status, relationship status, location, those don't matter as much to me. Age and income level are a little bit more important for me for my specific ideal audience. But if you're coming up blank for demographics, that's fine. Really, what you really want to focus on is the psychographics, because these are things that you can speak to directly in your copy. So what are, like, the people you want to work with, what are their values? How do they align with your values? What kind of personality do they have? Are there certain personalities you work better with than others? What are their pain points? Like, what is happening in their life or their business that they need help with? What motivates them to actually do something about that? What are their objections or insecurities about hiring somebody to help with this thing? And like, where do they want to go? Where do they desire to get to? What is on the other side of this pain point if that was solved? So kind of think about all that, like get into your audience's head a little bit, and really kind of to be in their shoes, and that way you can talk to them more effectively. And so kind of following up with that, like what is happening in their life or their business that they need someone like you? Like, where do you fit in on their journey from where they are now and the obstacles they're dealing with to the goal, like their endpoint that they want to get to? Like, where do you fit in and how do you help get them there? If you can get clear on that, you're like loads ahead of a lot of other people, a lot of other freelancers out there. So definitely, again, sit down, brainstorm on all this, because having a good think, getting clear about all this can only help you. And then possibly the most tricky question on figuring out your core brand is, why should people work with you over other similar available options? So what makes you, your offer, your business unique? What is the gap you're filling in the market, the transformation you're providing? Like, what is it about you that is different? And you might be thinking like, Amanda, like I am a website designer and there's like a million other website designers out there that also work on WordPress or on Squarespace or whatever it is you do. True. Yes. So look at not just the thing that you do, the service that you provide, but look at like, what is your background? Because there's only one you. So nobody else can duplicate that. So is there something in your background that gives you a different perspective? Is there something in your process that is different? Are you doing something better or different than your competitors? Are you specializing like very specifically in something like, I don't know, Shopify sites for candle makers or something very niche, like think about what makes you different. And if you're stuck on this, and I know a lot of people get stuck on this, if you've been in business a while and you have some testimonials or past clients, like look at those testimonials, ask your past clients, like, why did you pick working with me over other options. Like, what was it about me that stood out? Or what did you specifically love about working with me? It might be that, you're a website designer and you work in WordPress, and so do tons of other designers. But like the process of working with you, you made it super easy. You communicated great. Like, there can be other things like that help you stand out. So again, brainstorm, think about this, fill in that blank page, whether it's in a notebook or Google Doc. And then we put that all together. So once you have, had your brainstorm, answered all these questions, have this specific and laid out and defined, then what do you do with it? So, okay, step 2, after figuring out your core brand, is be intentional with your business decisions. Okay, now that you have that core brand figured out, use it. Okay, refer to it often. Ask yourself if what you're putting out there reflects what you said you want your brand to be based on your answers in your core brand. Okay, so you can use it to steer direction for design and copy and messaging and all sorts of things like that. Even things like, partnership opportunities or publicity opportunities. Okay, does that align with my values? Does it align with my audience? Does it, align with what I want my business to be known for? Check in with it when you have a big decision to make for your business. So, maybe something comes up where you have the option to bring on team members or something, or, a business deal or something. Does that align with what you said you wanted, with where you wanted to go with your business, with your goals for it? And some of this too, I want you to know, even though we're like figuring out your core brand, it's not like do it once, it's set in stone, and that's it forever. Like you never have to do it again. You do want to revisit it every few years to see if it needs updating, because you're going to evolve. You're going to kind of learn better what you like to do, what you want to do. Your goals may change. I know, especially with the COVID pandemic, like a lot of people had business pivots. So if your business is pivoting, you're going to want to revisit that core brand and see what needs to be updated. So don't be afraid. It can change with you as you and your business grow. So I don't want you to be scared of it feeling like too permanent. Okay. And then also share it with any professionals that you hire. If you're hiring a designer or a copywriter, a social media manager, a marketing person, somebody to run your ads, anything like that, share that core brand with them. Like put it in a document, have it as a PDF you can like shoot out to people. Cause I can't tell you how many times like I wish clients had that when I first came on with them. Now I help them do that. But like when I was a first baby designer, this would have been so helpful. Because it gives them those clear guidelines to follow and goalposts to aim for. Like they know what they're trying to accomplish with the design, with the copywriting, all that kind of stuff. So those are the 2 big ways you're going to use this core brand. And now I want to walk you through some examples, just to so you can kind of see how this plays out. So example 1 for when we're talking about qualities that you want your brand to evoke. So if one of your brand qualities is luxury, so then that might play out in, your color palette. You're likely going to have 1 or 2 rich colors, like rich, deep feeling colors balanced with some sophisticated neutrals. If you have any print or packaging pieces, you're probably going to go, for the extra oomph there, like thick, luxuriant paper or, letterpress or custom die cuts or, foil stamping or like metallic inks or something, some kind of specialty thing that makes it feel a little bit more special. You may have, a certain price point that you won't go below with your services, or you only work with clients above a certain point. Like in your marketing, you say, I'm only for coaches that make 6 or 7 figures, something like that. And as far as community stuff, you may regularly contribute to fundraisers or auctions at galas or things like that for local nonprofits or things. If you have a physical office space, I know not a lot of freelancers do, but if you do, it might be in a high-end area and professionally decorated. And if you want to be known as luxury, you don't stint on investing back into your own business. Your branding, your website, your materials and marketing should all be top notch. If that's the quality you want to be known for, you need to exemplify that everywhere you show up. Another example, for personality, if one of your brand personality traits is friendly, you want to be seen as friendly. That's the vibe and tone you want to give off. Your color palette, probably going to have more bright and saturated colors in your color palette than colors that are dark or muted, because brightness kind of equates to friendliness, right? Your brand typography might be more casual, fonts with more rounded edges, or you maybe use lowercase type treatment for your headlines, or like a loose handwriting look that looks like you just jotted down a note or something. Those can all help give a friendly feel. Your brand voice, like in your copy, will tend to be more approachable and energetic. Like, I think we can all agree there's a big difference between "Hi, how are you?" versus something like "Good evening, may I help you?" Like, one definitely sounds friendly, the other sounds a little snooty and reserved, right? Like, there's a difference. Your social media content is probably going to be mostly positive, not ranty or negative, because you want to be seen as friendly, right? And you have good conversations in the comments and DMs. And you may, on the community side, outside of your business, go out of your way to be an event organizer or a sponsor or a mentor. Those are all things that can help, support the idea of your brand being friendly. So I hope you can see how this one idea can trickle out into other areas of your business and really help you steer it. So audience, here's a good one. Once you know your target audience and their goals and their pain points, that helps you focus your marketing on the places that they actually visit, specific social media networks, a niche neighborhood or networking group, local events. You'll know kind of which ones will be a good fit for you because you'll know who you're trying to reach. You can make sure that your visuals are resonating to that kind of client that you want to attract. You can tailor all your copy and messaging to address their pain points and speak about how you can help them. You can conduct more useful market research with a relevant participant pool. So this is a big one because I see a lot of times I'm doing market research. Do you have 20 minutes to talk to me about blah, blah, blah? But they don't qualify that with the type of person they're looking for that research, because not everybody is going to be, again, your target audience. So you want to make sure if you're doing market research, the people that you're actually interviewing are part of your ideal audience, right? And then you're going to find outreach avenues, events, podcasts, summits, whatever, to reach more of your target audience, because you'll know who you're looking for. Again, this is all about focusing your efforts, right? Being more strategic with your efforts. Here's a good one too. This is again from my own business. If one of your core values is freedom, okay, this is something you come back to when making decisions in your business. So you'll ask questions like, what kind of freedom am I focusing on right now? Am I focusing on time freedom, financial freedom? What does that mean to me? And is this changing over time? It might be. Which option gives me the most freedom moving forward or in the long run? How can I build my business to maximize freedom and flexibility in my life? Will this partnership require that I give up too much of my autonomy? And how could I enable my clients and customers to experience more freedom? That's a big one for me too. That's part of why I do the work I do too, because when you have a business that works, that you love, you get to experience that freedom. So that's what I help my clients do as well. So that's, again, another example of how that can play out in different areas. And that's really it, right? That's how you shape your business's brand, or start to. You figure out what you want your business to be and to stand for and to be perceived as, and then you take conscious, intentional steps to make that a reality. That's the key right there. You make conscious, intentional steps. Because your brand, this is a quote from me and I love this, your brand can be your cornerstone, your compass, your megaphone, and your magnet all at once. But you have to put in the effort first in figuring out what you want it to be and building it to realize that. So that is it for how to shape your business brand. You can always reach out to me at any of these places if you have questions or if you want to connect. And that's really it. I am in the chat if you have more questions too, but otherwise, Have a great rest of Freelance Business Month, and I hope you found this useful.